What's up, my sensual otakus? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to do 5 horror anime that I love. The first one on my list is Bleach, and Bleach to me is more so supernatural, but it's still in the horror like genre or whatever. And I like the idea of the soul society versus the land of the living. And you get to see when Ichigo goes to the soul society, you get to see how the soul reapers and the people of the soul society feel about the land of the living. It's like there's a resentment there from them being in a different realm, them having lost their lives and being in the spirit realm and interacting with people from the land of the living and literally hating them because of that fact. Seeing Ichigo being treated the way that he did in the beginning and then earning the respect of the captains and even the head captain, after, he's holding his own in these battles, he's helping them, he's, rescuing a lot of people. And I know y'all like to say plot armor for Bleach too, but how do y'all expect for an anime to run if the main character is dead after fighting certain people? That's not how that's going to go. Especially if you're trying to do a series and it be a couple of seasons long. Of course there's going to be plot armor. What's wrong with that? I don't think nothing wrong with that, but I feel like y'all like to say it when it's somebody that y'all don't like, or if y'all want to prove somebody, if y'all want to argue with somebody about their favorite anime or favorite anime characters, that's the first thing that's being said. Plot armor. I argue about storyline because the storyline a lot of times the storylines are not strong. And that's the reason why there's so much plot armor, because they don't explore more things than that they can explore in the anime. Some of it just seems to follow that basic format. The bronze overbrained main character who fights villains and who becomes stronger and is a protector to their people. Same with Dragon Ball, same with One Piece, same with Black Clover, and all of the rest of the anime that follow that certain theme. So there's going to be plot armor, because how else is the anime going to continue? Somebody else be the main character? That's what y'all want? I don't know. But that's just what it is. Anyway, I chose Bleach because I love seeing Ichigo growth and him going from being hated by the Soul Reapers to earning their respect and even becoming friends with some of them, and some of them actually caring for him. Because when he first went there to save Rukia, they treated him like he was dust. And even though they did, Ichigo never gave that same energy back. All he did was continue to help them and try to fight and try to become stronger so that he can be of use to not just them, but also his family and all of the people in the land of the living. But I also like that even though we didn't really find out until Thousand Year Blood War about, well, at least even though we didn't find out till the end of Bleach and then it being expanded on in Thousand Year Blood War, him being a hybrid or having different, him being a Soul Reaper, a Quincy, and he also having his hollow powers. A Thousand Year Blood War expanding on that made me love Bleach more, because I'm not gonna lie, when I first watched Bleach, I was very disappointed at the way that it ended. That ending to me was terrible. Like, I love the anime, it's one of my favorites, but the ending to me was terrible, and throughout the anime, they weren't being forthcoming of information that we should have known. And maybe back then it didn't matter, but it matters now because everybody's a critic, right? We are all critics, right? We all can sit in front of a camera and say what we don't like and what we do like and criticize certain things or whatever. And maybe back then they didn't really have that, so it didn't matter. But looking at it through the lens that we're looking at it now, it matters, But at the same time, I can still enjoy an anime for what it is, even though I have constructive criticism when it comes to it. But the second one on my list is Demon Slayer. Tanjiro fighting to avenge his family and to turn Nezuko back into a human being. First, the fact that Tanjiro even feels like he can turn Nezuko from a demon to a human being, and that being the driving force of season 1 of Demon Slayer. Chef's kiss. Beautiful story, beautiful storyline. The ambitions that he had they weren't too hard to achieve, if that makes sense. They could be achieved if he kept it up. But the fact that storyline just kind of got lost in that anime after the first season was disappointing to me. Do I love Demon Slayer? Yes. But I am disappointed that storyline got lost, and a lot of the stuff that happens doesn't make sense. Now, if you want to argue plot armor for Demon Slayer, I ain't gonna argue against you, cause it has too much. If it has too much to me, I don't know. It just be stuff that don't be making sense. But I'm here to talk about why I like it, not critique it. Anyways, I like that Tanjiro goes from being sheltered, living an ordinary life, to being thrusted into a reality that he did not know existed until his family was targeted by these demons. And it was really interesting to watch him accept this underworld, if you will, because he wanted to save his sister and to avenge his family. And regardless of the criticism that we have about his journey to doing that, it was a strong storyline, and it was something that caught my attention, and I really loved it. Demon Slayer was an anime that had me in that first season glued to the TV. Like, it was really good to me. It was really refreshing to see horror anime, because I didn't see a whole lot of horror. And I know that it's a lot that I still have to watch. And horror is my favorite genre, so I'm always going to try to find it on any platform or whatever, any media. Also, the pace at which Tanjiro gets stronger, even though sometimes it's not realistic, we have to understand that he is on borrowed time. Like, he doesn't really know how being a demon is going to affect Nezuko and if she's going to be okay, even though Nezuko shows signs of still having some humanity in her. You don't really know if this is going to last. So he is on borrowed time, and not just because of that, but because demons are actively attacking more villages, attacking more people. So in order for him to find the demon that attacked his family, which was Muzan, he was willing to help other people. And that's what I really like about him. Tanjiro is very empathetic. I know he gets a lot of flack for being sensitive and having empathy for the demons, but I feel like that makes his character more likable. That he's just not a killing machine. That everything is not black and white to him. It's not cut and dry, but he's able to understand these demons on an emotional level. He's able to empathize with them. And I feel like that was different. It was refreshing, and I love Tanjiro for that. I do agree with a lot of criticism that Demon Slayer gets, and I probably criticize it more than most. That's why I like Demon Slayer. Anyways, the next anime on my list is Death Note. Death Note was the anime that I was introduced to when I was trying to get back into watching anime. Like, my brothers gave me a whole list of things, but Death Note was the one that introduced me because the movie came out, I watched it, and I saw the internet like going crazy over the live action and saying that they didn't like it. I didn't see nothing wrong with the live action, but that was because I never watched the anime. But when I went back and watched the anime, I understood the anger. And Death Note was like that door for me to actually really watch anime, because as a kid, I would see episodes of different anime here and there, but I never watched a full series, never watched them from beginning to end. I would watch some episodes of Inuyasha, I would see some of Bleach, I would see, you know, of course, Sailor Moon and stuff like that. Sailor Moon is one of those ones that I did kind of watch the full one, but most of other anime I didn't. I just would see episodes here and there. So Death Note was like that door that opened, that anime that opened the door for me to immerse myself into it fully. And when I tell you, after that, I never looked back. I was a fan for life, okay? It was a concept that I did not see. I've never seen before, so it was very intriguing to me. It was interesting, entertaining. I liked the pace of it, at least for the beginning of it or whatever. I liked the pace and the direction that it was going. Light versus L, probably one of the most one of my favorite back and forths between an anime villain and a hero of sorts, I guess. I don't really see L as a hero, and I also don't really see Light as a villain. I feel like with Death Note, you can't look at it like that in order for you to understand the concept. You can't look at it like black and white, this is wrong, this is right, and stuff like that, because of the way that it's formatted. It's formatted as, it starts off with Light seeming to be a hero and wanting to bring peace to the world, and he does this by unaliving bad people with this Death Note, this tool that was in his possession. And of course, the power ended up going to his head. That's gonna happen a lot of the times when you get power like that. It's gonna go to your head. You're gonna feel like you're above the law. You're gonna feel like you're God or whatever, and that's exactly what happened. But even though Light was power tripping, I do feel like Death Note was a really good anime. The ending I didn't like, just like the rest of y'all. I didn't really care for the ending like that. Also, Light getting the better of L didn't make sense to me, because he was on his trail from the beginning, and I really like that. Nobody else was expecting Light to be the one, like a high school student, to be the one with the Death Note. But L immediately figured it out, and just to see their back and forth and all of these things that Light did to kind of get out of his grasp, like, it was just fun to watch. It was entertaining, and I liked it. The fourth one on my list is Tokyo Ghoul. Kaneki was introduced to us as this like loner, nerdy, cowardly character who just kind of minded his business and, you know, went throughout the world, and he minded his business and like just was accepting of his place in the world, which was nowhere basically. Him going on this date with this woman that he did not know was a ghoul, and her end up attacking him, and then him transforming into a ghoul, but he was half human, half ghoul. And the way that it happened, them taking her organs to put inside him and it turning him into a ghoul. I never understood why the doctors that did that wasn't held accountable for what happened to him. Like the government was like so against ghouls or whatever, but for them to do that surgery and give him the girl's organs was kind of weird to me, and them not being held accountable for it. And it made me question, is this something that happens often, or is this just a single case? Like, was his case the only one? Was it a rare case, or was it something that happened a lot in those instances? I don't know. But that's what thing I question. But Kaneki going from being this coward, you know, not non-violent boy to having to be violent to survive. He went through a lot of traumatic things, even as a ghoul. Like him being eaten by that professor or whoever that man was. I can't remember his name. And accepting, and also in turn turning around and feeding on the guy that was feeding on him, and like him being immersed more into being a ghoul, transforming, his hair turning different colors and stuff, his hair turning white and stuff like that, and just him running with the ghouls. Like at first he was trying to fight it. He hated himself for being a ghoul. Then he ends up just accepting the fact that I'm a ghoul. And now I see how society operates and the way that ghouls are treated, because I'm a ghoul and I'm getting this treatment. So I'm going to fight for the ghouls, you know? Him leaving the only people who really was looking out for him and stuff like that. And it's seen as a betrayal, but I really feel like he was trying to protect them. There were a lot of people who were attracted to him for some reason. Like he was just special. A lot of ghouls especially. And it was putting them in danger. So him leaving to protect them is something that I understood. But I also feel like it was seen as a betrayal. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Tokyo Ghoul was really good, but the third season was weird. I don't understand what happens with horror anime where it starts off really strong, but then it falls flat. I noticed that that's a theme with horror anime. And I want to know why that happens. Because you could go so many different ways with these stories, especially Tokyo Ghoul, the way that junk was mapped out, the way that it was written at first, and then like it just falls flat. I don't know, but I still really like the anime, and I think it's dope. The fifth one on my list is Black Butler, and I really think that Butler, please, sorry, I'm geeky. It's hard. Okay, Black Butler. Okay. Had really interesting characters. CL being a 12-year-old little boy who was like, who inherited his family's business and he was running it, no problems, or whatever. Just seeing how he like picked himself up, and you know, him making the deal with Sebastian, selling his soul to get revenge on the people who tortured and murdered his parents. Also him and Sebastian's being investigators for like the underworld, investigating different things that happened. I also think it's really gory and like in your face about a lot of subjects that a lot of things like are subtle about. It was very in your face about it. It was very in your face about like the torture, the abuse, even the child abuse, the children being assaulted human sacrifices, all of those things were just thrown. I ain't gonna say thrown like a bad thing, but like they weren't subtle about it, and I really like that about that anime. CL's character, the development, the things that he faced while trying to get revenge, and him just never folding for real. Like he just getting through adversity, getting through these issues, and I want to figure out who killed my parents, and like garnering respect for a lot of the entities, because I want to say people in the supernatural world, beings, and while he's 12 years old, like CL was just doing stuff that normal 12-year-old people were not doing, and 12-year-old people 12-year-old kids are not doing, and I enjoyed every minute of seeing him do this stuff. Sebastian being such a charming, and like Sebastian was seductive low-key. Sebastian was a sensual otaku. Well, he was sensual. We're gonna say that. Sebastian was, he just had this like mysterious like air to him, character that kind of just drew you in. Like I loved every minute of seeing Sebastian on my screen. Like that's a character that I fell in love with. One of my favorite characters in anime. But yeah, I liked Black Butler because it was different. It was something that I didn't see. Also, the when it took place, I'll put it on the screen because I don't know exactly the time period, the things that were going on in the underworld, and how it was affecting the living world, stuff like that. I really just like how I really just like the storyline, and how CL was just a character who just commanded attention, and commanded respect. I forgot to mention the pact between Sebastian and CL. CL sells his soul to Sebastian in order to get power to seek revenge on the people that killed his parents. He also deals with a lot of trauma from the incident that happens, but it's really cool seeing a young child have the resolve, the intelligence, and he was very analytical and strategic, and using those skills to get revenge on his parents' murderers or whatever. And it also was interesting seeing the dynamic between him and Sebastian, and how Sebastian starts off wanting his soul. So he's willing to protect him from anything because he wants to be the one that gets his soul. But then eventually he ends up bonding with him and building this relationship, and second guessing whether he was going to take his soul or not, because he's been taking care of CL for a long time. So when it was time to get the soul, he was procrastinating. So it was cool to see that dynamic as well. But it was just a dope anime that I really liked enjoying. I really enjoyed watching. But that is the end of my list. My camera is about to die, so I had to make this quick. I have to finish from my phone. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this video. What are 5 horror anime that you like? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.